gentlemen, welcome to Live from the Compound. I am your host, Downtown Josh Brown. Congress is now considering a new bill called the Trust Act. This is the Transparent Representation, Upholding Service, and Trust. It's an acronym, guys. The bill is meant to restore public trust in Congress by requiring members and their spouses to either divest or place their individual stock holdings into qualified blind trusts, thereby preventing conflicts of interest and insider trading concerns. Today, we're talking to Greg Landsman, Representative Greg Landsman, who is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. You represent Southwest Ohio, which I guess is Cincinnati and the surrounding areas.
That's correct. You got it.
All right. And Greg has served on the Cincinnati City Council for 5 years, where he led investments in public safety and core services. And prior to that, you were a school teacher.
Yeah, son of teachers, school teacher myself. Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to just say thank you so much for being here. This is an issue that people are so passionate about. Yeah. I don't think that most Americans mind very much people getting wealthy. And I don't think that Americans have an issue with people doing well in the stock market. That's not the problem. I think what Americans get incensed by is a perceived unfair advantage, not just for Congress people, but for anyone that's got some sort of inside track or has the ability to manipulate things to have it benefit their investments. Would you agree with me? That's really the crux of the issue?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, at the core, Americans, and we forget this sometimes, but we have these shared values. And one of them is fairness. That is a shared American value, is fairness and hard work. So like we all value people who work really hard, and that it should be fair so that everybody gets a shot, right? At any number of things, including the American dream. But no one should have some sort of advantage over everybody else because of who they are or what they know or their own wealth, right? And their own access. And so for politicians to, be trading individual stocks is problematic because, you don't know as a member of Congress, like I'm not being told, anything that isn't on TV. Right. I think that's true, right? But nevertheless, we're in the middle of all kinds of big decisions. And so we are a little bit closer to information that could be useful. And even if you were like me, somebody who had nothing to do with their stocks, like somebody else does all that, it still creates the appearance that somehow I'm using information as a member of Congress, or that I get as a member of Congress, to benefit myself and my family financially. And so, my wife and I sold all of our stocks.
Well, let's put a pin in that. We're gonna get there. I want to just stop on something you said and go a little bit further. It's almost become a running joke amongst traders. They have tools that track the trading of some of your colleagues in the House and in the Senate. There's all sorts of conspiracy theories, and it does erode trust because it's not just do these people have an informational benefit. It goes further than that. It's do these people have a conflict when they're legislating? Are they pulling levers that will benefit their personal portfolio positions? That's even worse than the appearance that there's some sort of informational edge. And I think that's really what we're talking about is a trust issue there.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that sort of that pay to play, or the idea that somebody is compromised, right? Because of money, and that they're doing something in a position of power where they're supposed to be helping the entirety of the community they represent, and instead they are representing the interests of some money folks. And that is a larger issue in American politics that has to be addressed, which is just the amount of money in politics. And I don't take corporate PAC money, and I don't trade individual stocks. It's all part of a larger sort of set of decisions that we've made so that it is crystal clear to people, like, I work for the 800,000 people I represent, period. No one else.
Yeah. And you would think that your attitude toward this would be the norm, but it's not. And we've got, I believe the number is 59% of Republican Congress people and 41% of Democratic Congress people are actively in the stock market, which in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with that. But there are some members, and we're not going to get into names, who trade thousands of times a year. I mean, it's really a situation where it seems out of control to the outside. Like, how does this person who's in elected office have all this time for all these trades?
Well, and one of them, this new kid from Pennsylvania, I genuinely forget his name, but he's just like, he loves it. He's talking about it all the time, and he's bragging about like, hey, I got to make money too. And you're like, dude, then go get another job.
Right. Go run a hedge fund.
Go run a hedge fund. Like, it's great. Go make your money. But like, if you choose public service, you work for the public good. This is not a money making job. As I tell you, my wife said, like, this can be, a very expensive job. I mean, if you do it right, if you do it, do it right. Yeah.
Right. There's existing legislation on the books. There was something called the Stock Act in 2012, which Barack Obama signed toward the end of his second term. The problem with the Stock Act is that it's toothless and it's barely in use. So yes,
it was transparency. It was just transparency. Like, you got to report all your trades.
So we have reports. The penalty is like a $200 fine for not reporting on time, and no member of Congress has been prosecuted under that act. So it's sort of seen like a one way I've heard things like this described. It's like you're driving your car into a whole group of people, but at least you're honking your horn.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean,
you don't seem to love that metaphor.
No, only because
okay. Got it.
Yeah, but not for any other reason than just the idea of somebody driving their car into a crowd.
Fair.
But yeah, I just think like, the transparency sometimes we think is going to solve the problem. Yeah. But like, it's remarkable because like some people, like this kid in Pennsylvania, he does not care. He doesn't care. Like, he's proud of the fact that he is like making a ton of money. And
he's reveling in the transparency is serving his ego.
Yeah, he seems he's like, no, bring it on. Like, I'm, and some of that I think is like, the wrong lessons learned from Trump, who sort of like leans into the things that like, some of us believe are completely and utterly wrong, and he just says, no, I'm gonna be proud of it, and eat that. I will say, like, for me, it was that bill, right? Like, I got to Congress, I wasn't thinking about the day after the election. So like, I didn't put anything in place because I'm just one of those people who, whatever's in front of them, that's what I'm doing. I'm focused, and then you win, and you got to start an office, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we put out the report, your financial report. And it turns out that our broker, they list all those stocks.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't like this. And so, I guess in that sense, it was helpful for me because I was like, yeah, I'd like to get out of this. I'm gonna sell all my stocks.
Well, so let's talk about that. So I read the story, and I was really impressed, and I thought it was really admirable what you did. Not only are you proposing an outright ban on people in Congress being day traders on the side, but you are doing what the folks would call putting your money where your mouth is. You sold all of your individual stocks. You took a $150,000 capital gain, a tax for having done so, and you moved that money into a broadly diversified portfolio of mutual funds that you are not involved with, and no one could look at that and say, Greg's got some sort of alternative agenda here. You did that in May, and I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think I saw a lot of other representatives following suit, even the ones that claim to support the bill. It's almost as though they're waiting to see what the legislation is before walking the walk. Is that your impression as well?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
maybe somebody did. I have not heard of anyone else doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It's expensive.
Okay. Good
It's
answer.
very expensive, and I don't know. You could make the argument that, well, once it passes, I'll do it. Also, by the way, in the updated bill, you don't have to pay capital gains.
Right.
So there's like a carve out for members of Congress to incentivize them to do this.
I almost think that's fine at this point. Like, why would we retroactively punish somebody for whatever the rules were?
Yeah,
as long
but
as they
like, I don't know. One, maybe I'm annoyed because I already paid my capital gains on it, and it was like, I did the right thing, so like I'm not going to benefit. But also, like, why are members of Congress getting a carve out?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could make an argument for it, but whatever. I just think, like, 'cause somebody asked me when I was doing it, do you think, you should get a carve out for your capital gains? And I was like, no, I don't think so. Like, like doing the right thing sometimes is, sometimes it's expensive.
So
just do it.
I would have said, yes, you do, because you were operating based on the letter of the law as it was. And now there's going to be there's a new act or bill being proposed, and you want to be in compliance with it in advance. But why should you be forced, I guess, to pay a penalty for doing the right thing? So I probably would have said give them the carve out. I would still say
let me play the devil's advocate on this. Why do I get a carve out and somebody else doesn't? Like, if you're not a member of Congress and you sell your stocks, like, why?
Because you're in public service, and when Hank Paulson left Goldman to join the Treasury, or when Gary Cohn left Goldman to join the Trump administration, part of the deal is, what am I going to do with all this Goldman stock? Well, you're going to sell it, and you're not going to pay a capital gain because you're serving your country.
I think they should
nowadays. I don't even think they'd be forced to sell.
I think they should have paid. I think, like, these are people, like, first of all, I don't have a ton of money. I'm okay. Like, don't worry about me.
Yeah, these are billionaires.
These are billionaires. They should have paid. They should have paid. Everybody else has to pay their taxes.
Anyway. I want to get to some of the polling on this, because, as I said to you before we started recording, this is all going to come back to you in your favor. This is, I would say, among the most bipartisan things there are amongst the general public. Public polling, and I've got data from a whole bunch of sources. Public polling shows 86% of Americans, including 87% of Republicans, 88% of Democrats, and 81% of independents, all back prohibiting members of Congress from trading individual stocks. I can't think of another issue, even like clean drinking water, probably wouldn't poll that high. So this is a good issue for you. Another poll, this is from Data for Progress, showed that 70% of likely voters want to ban. 68% say it should extend to spouses. And when you think of that level of agreement amongst the people, it's almost miraculous that this hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no, I think that is a great point. It's like, sometimes politicians, especially up here, are so far behind where the American people are. And if they spent more time at home, or were in local government like I was for years, I think they'd be better connected to where folks really are on these issues. Like, they've been clear about this for a long time. They also just hate the big money. Like, yes, to me, this is a big deal. I also don't take corporate PAC money, and almost everybody around me does. Like, all of these people up here do. And I don't know if the polling is the same, but it's high. Like, people.
But do you think that's part of your appeal, and therefore, while it might be a financial impediment to your campaign activities, it ends up working in your favor because people just trust you more so than the people that you'd be running against?
Yeah, people know that at the end of the day, I'm with them, period. Like, that's all they care about.
I love hearing that so much for the country, and I love hearing that for your constituents in Cincinnati. It's a really great message, and it's refreshing. The last thing I wanted to get to, because I know you guys are having quite a week in DC, and thank you for making time for this.
Oh, sure.
So I wanted to ask you where things stand with this legislation. I know it's not top of the list of things that you're working on right now, but do you think that this has a reasonable shot of getting through at some point in the near future?
Yes, if leadership gets behind it, and that means
who is that? Who is that specifically?
The President of the United States, the Senate the Senate leader, the Senate Minority Leader, Thune, Schumer, the Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries. Like, so much of what's happening in Congress right now is all driven by the top.
Yeah.
And so, like, we may push for a discharge petition on this. I did a discharge petition on the Social Security Fairness Act last Congress and got it done. $20 billion is now going out to retired police officers and firefighters and letter carriers and teachers.
What is a I'm a Wall Street guy. What is a discharge petition?
It's a way to force a vote. It's a way to work around leadership. They hate
on
it.
a single issue.
Yep, 218 signatures. If you sign that, you get 200, and we're about to do it on the Epstein files.
Okay.
So we're at 217, and we have a new member of Congress who's getting sworn in hopefully next week. It should have been this week, but it shall be 218. At which point, like, it forces a vote on the Epstein files. I forced a vote on the Social Security Fairness Act. It passed. These retired, public, officials, teachers, police officers, firefighters, they're not getting $700-800 a month in their Social Security. They paid for Social Security, but because they had a public pension, there was a bill that said you can't have any of your Social Security, even though you paid for it. So now they're getting their money back. And so I think the only way to get this done, because leadership won't do it, because I think they all make a ton of money, and
I was going to say, this White House doesn't strike me as particularly concerned with financial conflicts. So it's going to be tough to make this a hot button issue for that
like
side.
This dude in Pennsylvania, which is that he revels in it. He's just like, look at how much money I made, and the American people hate it. And I think even Trump supporters would be like, I like Donald Trump, but I don't like the fact that he's worth, several $1 billion now because he's been president of the United States. Like, what is he selling? Is he selling pardons? Is he selling this? Is he selling that? Like, they don't like that either. So I do think that if it were to get to a floor vote, it would pass. And so, like, the question is, are there enough of us who?
Are you one of the primary sponsors? Are you one of the primary sponsors of this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and who's the leading counterpart on the Republican side that's pushing for this?
Seth Magaziner is the guy on our side. I'm getting it for you. You can just say it. Morgan's bringing it to me. Morgan's my
okay. Thank you, Morgan.
Morgan's the producer on this side.
Okay, got it.
She's having a hard time with the Google. Who's the who introduced it with him? I feel like it might be like a Thomas Massey type.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, on behalf of
Chip
all
Roy.
other
Chip Roy.
Oh, Chip Roy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like,
right.
We're rebels in the sense, I mean, very different human beings, but you got to have a little bit of like, I don't really care. I'm going to go do it attitude to force a vote. And there's probably enough of us on this bill to do that.
So I was going to close by just telling you, on behalf of all investors who do want there to be a level playing field and don't want to see their elected representatives consumed with trading activity, we appreciate your effort on this, and we'll see if it passes. Maybe we'll have you come back and take a victory lap. Does that sound good?
Be awesome. Thank you, man.
All right,
I appreciate you
guys. If you want to learn more about Greg and his work, go to landsman.house.gov. That's the best place for people to see more about what you're working on? Yes?
Or social media, just Google Greg Landsman,
Awesome. Representative Greg Landsman, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Like and subscribe. We're going to let Greg go, and we'll talk to you soon.